Now, for those of you guys that like SCHD or the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, you want exposure to a basket of holdings that are relatively defensive, but also grow over time, pay dividends, and pay more and more dividends, at least generally speaking. Then today's video is going to be perfect for you because I'm going to be sharing with you guys a rather slept on ETF that offers basically everything that SCHD offers, but only does certain things even better. I'm going to go through and share with you guys what this ETF is, how it works, and why it's better than SCHD in many ways. So if you consider yourself a dividend growth investor, definitely stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker that I'm constantly using here on the channel has also helped so many investors stay on track and allow them to see their dividend income in real time. Well, today I have another treat for you guys. I'm not only going to offer you my A to Z dividend investing ebook and the custom dividend tracker, but also just for a short limited time, I'm going to be adding in my brand new weekly dividend blueprint ebook to show you how you can get started with weekly dividend ETFs and add this into your investing strategy. This offer is not going to last long, so go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Now let's get back into the video. Now the ETF that I'm talking about is DGRW, or the Wisdom Tree US Quality Dividend Growth Fund. Hopping right into the fact sheet, it says Fund Overview. The Wisdom Tree US Quality Dividend Growth Fund seeks to track the price and yield performance before fees and expenses of the Wisdom Tree US Quality Dividend Growth Index. Now, why DGRW? It says gain access to the current investment landscape of US large cap dividend growing companies, used as a complement to high yielding dividend strategies or as a replacement for large cap quality strategies. Now, just to get this one thing out of the way, this ETF does have a 0.28% gross expense ratio, so it is pretty expensive to hold on to, which is a fair criticism when it comes to this ETF, but I promise you that is the only thing as far as I can see that this ETF has going against it. The ETF's performance has been amazing since inception, around 12-13% as far as total returns go year after year. Now, the great things about this ETF is the fact that it's grown over time like crazy. It offers exposure to almost a perfect basket of holdings if you are a dividend growth investor that still seeks a massive amount of total return. DGRW also pays dividends every single month and has been growing their dividends time and time again. Now, a $10,000 investment into DGRW since inception, which this ETF has only been trading since 2013, that $10,000 would now be almost $45,000. Now, even though I'm a huge fan of SCHD, there are a few things that I do hold a lot higher when it comes to DGRW compared to SCHD, and that's going to be the holding breakdown. DGRW has a nice mix, as you can see right here, of dividend paying stocks and names that have a lot more growth characteristics. Names like Microsoft and Apple make up over 13% of the entire portfolio. There's also names like Nvidia in here, so you are getting some exposure to some growth names. But then after that, you can see names like ExxonMobil, Chevron, Procter & Gamble, Philip Morris, Home Depot, more or less typical dividend growth stocks that also have been paying dividends over time and growing them. Now, if you compare DGRW's top holdings to SCHD's top holdings, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of SCHD. I own a ton of it in my portfolio. But let's be real here, the top 10, top 15 holdings, comparing both these ETFs head to head, I would say DGRW definitely takes the cake when you're comparing these two. Now then, you might be asking me, why in the world don't you own so much more DGRW compared to SCHD? And here's the main reason. Even though DGRW does have a lot more growth characteristics and it's definitely outperformed SCHD as far as total return goes, which I'm going to share with you guys here in a second, DGRW for my specific portfolio and for my goals does not offer a large enough starting yield, only around a 1.4-1.5% trailing 12-month dividend yield, which doesn't really matter all that much because this ETF has so much growth potential. Just as far as price return goes, this ETF is amazing. But for my portfolio, I'm currently building out a long-term strategy that's going to be paying my bills hopefully sometime soon in the future, and DGRW just doesn't really have enough income generation to make the cuts. Now, that being said, I still do own some DGRW, and maybe in the future, I would shift over my purchases from SCHD to DGRW maybe sometime down the road. But for investors that just generally speaking do want to have more exposure to more total return, just because of names like Microsoft, Apple, and Nvidia, I do think that long-term over the next, say, 10-20 years, DGRW probably will outperform. I mean, it's kind of crazy if you stack up SCHD next to DGRW over this time frame. They're honestly not even close. For a while there, they were trading very close head to head, but then pretty much ever since mid-2023, DGRW has been really outperforming SCHD over basically every single time frame. On the max time frame, DGRW's offered 342% total return, where SCHD's offer around 250%. Now again, either one of these names over this time frame have done pretty decent, but again, with DGRW having exposure to some more of those growth focused names, it's not really a secret that this ETF has outperformed by quite a margin. So even though DGRW does offer a lower starting yield, and even though this ETF does have a pretty expensive expense ratio, if you ask me, this ETF will probably outperform SCHD in my humble opinion. Obviously, I have no idea. but just because it offers a nice mix of not only dividend paying companies, but also growth names, I do think this ETF is probably going to have the upper hand on total return. Now, all that to say that I do have a question for you guys down below. If I were to ask you which ETF you personally would want to have more exposure to, whether it's DGRW or SCHD, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like in it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.